Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. So last weekend, it's this Saturday morning, I was about to release an episode, and we called it Sexual Ambivalence. And the idea came from a conversation I was having with a client where his partner was in a place where she's just decided to be an ostrich. You know, when ostrich is being attacked by another animal, instead of running away or fighting back, they choose to sort of bury their head in the sand, and then it becomes chaotic. So they're not dealing with anything. So it's in that situation where it feels like he's doing his best to become the best version of himself, evolving, and they've tried to get a collaborative thing happening within the relationship so that they can grow together as well. And she's decided just to down tools and not be engaged. So we started trying to figure out what the hell is going on here, because you've got these situations where she wants to be happy and fulfilled and grow old together and be married, but at the same time she's not willing to invest and do what it takes in order to maintain that and be happy in the future. So we're looking into what does that look like and what does that mean. So we started talking about supporting evidence of what was going on, and initially it took me down the path of cognitive dissonance, where if you have two different thoughts, you might choose one and then start trying to find supporting evidence for it. But that's not the case. It's not the case, because I think a lot of you guys, and with him, this guy as well, is that there is two options when it comes to a relationship, two bad options. And the two bad options is that they don't want to be divorced, they don't want to be a single mom, they don't want to experience the pain that's associated with divorce. So that's one pain that they know that is there, inevitable, and will knuckle down and put the heels down in order to stay in the relationship. And then there's the other part where there's fulfillment, there's happiness, there's engagement within the relationship, but in order for you to get to that point, she needs to evolve, she needs to invest in the relationship, she needs to feel uncomfortable, she needs to be prepared to get through a lot of uncomfortable scenarios in order to get to the place where she's comfortable and enjoying the relationship. So again, that's another piece that can be considered painful, but obviously it's got a very good outcome. So they end up in this position where they are forcing them, they don't want to grow in order to have a fulfilling relationship, but at the same time they don't want to divorce. So now you've got these two different dichotomous situations, but they both cause pain. I don't know if dichotomy is the right word. Anyways, but it's got these two different pains that they're trying to avoid. So by avoiding it, they get into this place where they tolerate the things that are associated with not doing anything. So and usually they actually put mechanisms in place in order to stay stagnant, and they use delaying tactics. For example, let's not talk right now. I'm not prepared to talk about it because I'm emotionally unstable. I've got these other problems happening, so I'm not in a place to talk about it. The other one that they put is they shame you. Why is it that you were all about sex? Why is it that it's everything with you is to do with sex? Why is it there's nothing else that you bring to the table? What's the other one? All you talk about is sex. That's similar to that one. What's the other one? The other one is I don't feel connected to you. I feel distant. So there's nothing that we can do because we're not in the right place. So there's several things that they will employ in order to delay and dismiss and really make it seem like the whole sex thing is. In fact, the other one is everybody who I know who's in a marriage is experiencing the same thing. We're no different, so you need to just accept it. So there's all these are the delaying tactics, or at least tactics that are employed then in order that she feels comfortable enough to deal with it in this realm, in this place, and it's easier for her then to just coast the rest of her life. She could potentially coast the rest of her life until you decide that something needs to happen, whether you need to actually employ, okay, I'm not going to get divorced, or she decides that she needs to grow in order to have that fulfilling relationship. So a lot of you guys are within this place where you're just sort of stuck. we've tried every single thing, nothing is working, and we started talking about what that might look like in terms of triggering her into the place where she's now wanting to grow and what that looks like. So, and then a lot of the things going to come down to the conversations that you're having and how you're having those conversations. Because usually when most people have conversation about sex and the lack of sex, it's usually we're not having sex and this is how it makes me feel. And generally she will look at that situation and think that you're crazy because obviously she's living a boring life, and she will now tell you the feelings that she is feeling. So it's now who's the worst victim out of this place. So she might then put something else. And you know what I'm talking about because you've told her before that, oh, you're feeling terrible, you're feeling depressed because there's lack of intimacy. Then she'll be like, oh, no, I feel tired. I feel depressed too. And therefore, this is the reason why I'm not prepared to have sex. And then it's almost like this slippery slope of who's the most... who's the worst victim out of this relationship, so nobody has sex. So again, it comes back down to the approach, how you approach the conversation. Is it collaborative? How do you make it collaborative? And more importantly, can you create a stimulus for it to become a place where she starts desiring to grow and having a fulfilled relationship. So again, it comes back down to the conversation that you're having before. If you've been having conversations about sex where they have caused more chaos, probably conversation is probably the worst place you can be going. I think it's worth going through action first, and the action is really just really being distant towards sex, being indifferent towards sex, and really just creating that gap so you can create some comfort around sex. Now, she's stressed, making silly comments. And again, there's a part of it when she's in that place where she's delaying and in denial, then your non-verbal communication towards sex is still there. So when she walks in and she's naked, when you tense up and you freeze up, that's a validation that she needs and could be something that is feeding to her own ego sexually, that's enough for her to feel okay about it. That, okay, he still wants me sexually, but I'm not prepared to give him any sex. So by removing all of that stuff, gives you an opportunity to actually create that gap. And we call it the seduction gap, where you're not showing any sexual intent or attention in order for her to start feeling like, is there something wrong with me? Should I be doing something in order to get more sexual attention? And as she's doing so, she remembers that she actually likes the chasing of you. She likes being part of that. And that's just a different episode that I'll be making very soon, where we talk about really getting her to turn the table so she starts chasing you. So, but keeping to the topic, where it's this place that a lot of these women are stuck. And again, sometimes it comes with age, especially getting closer to 40. There's a time of where they start seeing a bit like mortality is now hitting them, so that the way they feel, and there's a lot of things that are changing. And if you've already set that with tone within your relationship, where sexually her investment is low because you've chosen for her investment to be low, she's really now going to remove any investment from herself in terms of her giving sex within that relationship, because she feels comfortable. She feels that external pressure from you to try and have sex, and she feels it as pressure, and so she can just swat it off like a little fly and say, no, I'm not prepared, I'm not ready, and delay it as far as she can, because again, she would rather, the growing is more to her, she perceives it as more painful. And again, sometimes, to a certain extent, some of them, they don't want to grow and be fulfilled because they don't believe that they deserve to be happy anyways within that relationship, which is another topic that I'll be talking about soon. And I think I've covered a little bit about this as well. So I just wanted to make this episode so you can actually start thinking about this. Like, when I look at our situation where we are being sexless, what are those contributing factors? Is she feeling comfortable in this place where she's delaying, where she's denying, where she's not wanting to move forward sexually? Because is there a part of her that sees that investing into the relationship is painful? Does she feel like she doesn't deserve to be in a happy relationship? Does she feel like the investment that she's giving is too much? So again, if she's not prepared to give any investment to you within the relationship, what does that mean about your relationship? It's like, I need you to ask those questions because, again, it determines where you're going to go and how you're going to have those conversations if you can answer them. And I just wanted to give that thought. I'm going to really go and dive in deeper into this at another later date because I'd written some notes for it. But I want to just go and talk about this briefly. And I'm going to do a real teaching lesson on video for this one because I think it's something that when I break it down, when you're seeing, I've been thinking about diagrams, different diagrams. So, like, why is it variable for her to feel desire, and what are those opposing forces that are stopping her from actually feeling it? So, it's something that I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper into and prepared to share with you guys. So, again, if you want to learn more about this, go to my Instagram, thriving_tribesmen, and you can ask any question, especially specifically for your relationship. So, you ask me a question. And again, it's not a sales call, so you ask me a question, and if you want me, I can then make an episode on the podcast specifically talking about a relationship. Obviously, not mention your name, but as well give you an opportunity to actually get my opinion on how I would go about changing your relationship. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.